Alright, hello everyone, and welcome to my very first YouTube video for Piecing It Together, where the main goal is to flip today's flaws into superpowers, which I'm currently on the journey of learning how to do. So, this is my first step, and hopefully I can find people who understand and can go on and relate to the things that we'll talk about. My goal is to build a community of these people and potentially see if we can grow it into something bigger, something massive, and let the world know what's going on and where we are and that we're here and we are people and that we understand. So that's my main goal here. Um, if anything like me, then getting to the point of producing your first video has probably felt like a monumental achievement. But at the same time, it's probably been the biggest obstacle you've ever faced, because it pertains to talking about yourself. It pertains to you putting yourself out there in the public eye for others to go on and see and say whatever they must and judge or whatever you want to call it. But this is a sign to you, letting you know that it's okay. It's okay, and what people say is not going to go on and, pretty much determine how your response is going to be perceived, or what responses you're going to get, rather. So, I'm outside. I'm at a park, local park, because for one, my environment played a huge factor in my ability to go on and get this done. So we'll put that out there. Today I want to go on and dive into something that's been a massive part of my life, and honestly the biggest hurdle to get over with starting this channel. It's called executive dysfunction. Now, a lot of people may not know what that is, so I'll go on and give you guys a little bit of a breakdown of what it is. That way, I'm not sitting here talking your ear off about it, and you're like, what? So, what exactly is executive dysfunction? Simply put, it's a breakdown of the brain's management system. And if I could put it into an analogy, think of it as a glitch in your control center, aka your brain. That helps you get things done. So, a glitch that can show up in several different ways, such as, but not limited to, difficulty with starting, organizing, prioritizing, managing time, and following through with those tasks. A lot of the times, my brain is fully aware and capable of what it is I want to do or need to do, but ultimately it's the struggle of initiating the go command to make it happen. So, this very channel, for instance, would be a good example. Felt like climbing Mount Everest when I first started this, and it's like a traffic light that keeps cycling between yellow and red. Meanwhile, I've just been sitting here looking for the green, so I can go on and get on with it. Something that I have noticed to be a big issue is the perfectionism paradox. Sorry, that's perfectionism paradox. And with that topic, I want to go on. I'm sorry, I got a lot going on around me. And again, ADHD, so that's where this all spins from. So with that topic, I want to go on and talk about something that often goes hand in hand with the executive dysfunction for me. So this perfectionism paradox, to my own understanding, is that it's a concept where a seemingly contradicting statement reveals a deeper truth. And in my case, the dysfunction actually fuels my perfectionism. It's that feeling of not doing something unless it's absolutely perfect. Constantly questioning if it's even worth doing, if it can't be flawless. So if I can't go on and do it with no mistake, with no, failures or anything like that, it just doesn't get done. And these past 6 months have been exactly that. It's an overwhelming loop that just keeps you stuck in the planning phase. But I'm here now. Here it is for everyone to see, hear, hopefully understand. Uh, it's been a battle with perfectionism, you know, and it wasn't due to lack of ideas for the channel, because the ideas just go on and flow naturally. It's a natural process for me. I've come up with product ideas for clothing and slogans and so many different approaches to this topic. And again, it was just going and waiting for that orange or red light to turn green. So I definitely overextended the process. I definitely made it a lot more complicated than I needed to make it. But again, here I am. You know, it's like the high standards that I've had set for myself. It halted the process. It slowed me down because of those high standards. And I think now I'm understanding that it's more important to go on and just get it done versus trying to get it just right. You know, when I say get it perfect, I meant like the lighting. As you can see, I'm outdoors because my environment where I live, it's, you know, nothing wrong with it. It's just, it was a gloomy setting that affects the mind, or the way that my mind processes. It affects it heavily. So I'm outdoors. The setting had to be it had to be perfect. The environment had to be ideal. The lighting, the script had to seamlessly go together. Everything had to be just right, as I said. And me being the kind of person that I am, excuse me being the kind of person that I am, I'm very self-critical of the things that I do. And not a lot of people understand that. But that's just the way that my brain processes. I sit down and I think about the things that I do and how these things are going to either affect me or affect someone else, rather it's someone that I know, rather it's someone I don't know. It doesn't matter. These are just the things that I go on and talk about. Yeah, it had to be perfect. I couldn't stutter. I couldn't make any mistakes. Just an endless flow of content. And in all reality, these high standards that I set became the trap I subconsciously set for myself. And I am realizing that now. All this time, and it's been probably about 6 months that I've been trying to do this. Since November of last year, work ended for me. I got laid off due to the season. So I was thinking about going public and trying something different. And here we are in June of 2025, and I'm just now getting this out to you guys because I'm just now establishing that level of comfort to be able to do these things. I mean, it's a beautiful feeling. Wish it didn't take so long, but here I am, you know. So I want to go on and talk about some of the areas where executive dysfunction. Hold on. I want to talk about some of the areas where executive dysfunction has kind of taken over, and I'm slowly trying to gain back control. So for the first one, it would be the process of starting new things. You know, this YouTube channel is a perfect example. It's been well over, actually, let's see, November, December, we're in June, 6, 7, it's been a well over 8 months, or well over, well, it's been about 8 months rather, not well over. Um, it's been about 8 months since I've taken the first steps of doing this YouTube channel, and the process that I've gone through. I've spoken to people, tried to get family, because as someone with ADHD, having someone to bounce your ideas off of is actually a really effective way to make that happen. But here we are again, 8 months later, and that didn't really go too well for me. So there's a bird nest up there. Squirrel. Um, so this YouTube channel being a perfect example with me feeling easily overwhelmed over these past 8 months. Here we are, almost a year later, and I'm finally going and getting this YouTube channel started and hopefully getting it to take off. I get overwhelmed very easily, so here's to something new. Uh, Something else that I've seen the executive dysfunction show up in, or another aspect of my life that I've seen the executive dysfunction show up in, is my everyday tasks. I'm a father and I have a daughter, and one of my strong points is pattern recognition and maintaining habits, creating patterns, following patterns. I wasn't always this way, but now that I am at that point where I can make that happen and follow through with it, I can see the difference between where I was previously, over the past year or two versus where I am now. So executing daily tasks, rather it's a regular routine chore or me doing paperwork, because I worked for a company that, it didn't require a whole lot of paperwork, but it required paperwork, or just simply responding to communications, rather it's from family, friends, whatever it may be. It was something that I struggled with. So that is something else that I have had a really tough time with doing. Another thing that I struggled with was planning for the future, So to elaborate a little bit more on that, it doesn't matter, rather it was planning for 2-3 days from now to planning for 6 months. I've always been the type of person where I just wing it, my whole life I've just won it. And now I'm understanding that that is the reason for that. So that's one area that I've been actively working on also, and I've seen the progress, which makes it easier to see the past habits that I've had doing it. Something else that I've noticed over these past few years is decision fatigue. You know, for those of us who have ADHD and we consciously are aware of it, decision fatigue is a real thing, and it's not something that a lot of people will understand, but it is something that, if you've ever experienced it, once I explain it to you, you'll be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But decision fatigue, it's like making a heavy decision in your life, rather it be you deciding to follow a new job perspective or prospect, or rather it be as a parent. I'm a parent also. It could be something as simple as deciding to move your child from one school to another, or having to relocate with the child. The process that it requires, it becomes 10 times heavier than just a neurotypical person. That's something else we'll get into. Neurodiversity. I'm a part of the neurodiverse community, so that is something else that I want to go in and set the grounds for as a topic with this channel. But ultimately, when it comes to the decision fatigue, it's like making small choices feel disproportionately bigger than they are, and it's draining so much energy that it feels like for those of us who work an 8-hour job, well, I'm not currently working an 8-hour job, but I've been there and I've done it. It's like working an 8-hour job, when you're not actually working an 8-hour job. It's just you putting so much thought and so much emphasis into your decision making that you feel the drain of energy. That is the neurodiverse way. The emotion, it's 10 times more powerful, rather it's positive emotion or negative emotion. For me, I've noticed a lot of different situations where I've had immense emotion, and the emotion that I felt was completely mind-boggling for me. Getting to a point where I'm actually here now. As I said, it's been 8 months. Getting to a point where I'm actually here now and I'm able to do these things. It made me emotional, so I can definitely relate to that. My biggest thing that I'm trying to do with this channel, the ultimate goal, is break the barrier. There seems to be a misconception between the people who have ADHD and the people who don't, or the people who don't know that they have it and they down talk it, or the people who have it but they don't educate themselves on it, because I was once one of those people. One of the misconceptions I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead here. Getting to the point of just simply choosing this topic as my introduction. It feels extraordinary, It feels monumental, And the way that I'm doing it now, it feels like it's the way I should have done things from the start. It's the way I feel like I should have done things this way from the start. For months and months on end, my brain was trying to optimize every potential angle to approach instead of just picking one and running with it. It took endless attempts at different strategies and a few mind shifts to finally go on and get this done. Again, it's been 8 months, 4 months short of a year. And now that I actually sit here and say it to myself, put it into perspective, it's like, what have I really done, these past 8 months? One thing that I did achieve with these past 8 months is I was able to go on and develop these ideas. As I said, making the ideas and coming up with the ideas was never the problem. It was always the execution. Always, never failed. But here I am again, I'm executing. Rather this is going to work out or not, I'm executing. So, I want to go on and end the video here because we're getting kind of lengthy. But what I do want to do is make another video where I will talk about some of the techniques that I found to be useful, and hopefully another person can go on and take heed to these techniques and utilize them in a way that benefits them, in case you are one of those people that want to go on and put yourself out there and create this channel or create a channel and talk about your experiences in hopes of helping someone else. So again, my name is Edward, and the name of this channel as of right now is Piecing It Together podcast, radio series, whatever you want to call it. Just know that this is a place where the goal is to take the flaws of today's society and flip them, find out ways to utilize them as a superpower, which in the neurodiverse community, ADHD community, superpower is a powerful word, man. So until next time, I'm going to go on and leave you guys with that. I hope you decide to go on and check in with me on my next video. And let's start building something great, Till next time, guys. Later.